The Confession Killer, and why Henry Lee Lucas was so terrifying. Some name him as one of the most prolific serial killers in all of US history. Others view him as just a compulsive liar. So which is he? Convicted of multiple murders and infamously confessing to hundreds more, Lucas's life was full of violence, manipulation, and more mystery. Henry Lee Lucas was born on August 23rd, 1936 in Blacksburg, Virginia, to a family full of dysfunction and abuse. His mother Viola was a violent alcoholic who reportedly forced Lucas to cross-dress as a child and subjected him to physical and emotional abuse. She was also said to be a sex worker, further adding discomfort to the home environment. His father, Anderson Lucas, was an alcoholic and a double amputee, making him unable to intervene effectively in the chaos of their household. Lucas sustained multiple head injuries during his childhood. Many believe this had something to do with his later actions in life. These early years set the stage for a life full of instability, rage, and a lack of empathy, traits that would later define his criminal behavior. By his teenage years, Lucas had already begun engaging in petty crimes, including theft and assault. His violent tendencies escalated in 1951 when he was arrested for burglary and sent to a juvenile detention center. Lucas's first confirmed murder occurred in 1960 when he killed his mother during a heated argument. He claimed she had berated him for bringing home a woman he intended to marry. Lucas struck her with a broom handle, leading to her death. Conviction of second-degree murder, Lucas was sentenced to 20 years in prison but was paroled after serving just 10. Lucas's life took a wrong turn in the 1970s when he crossed paths with Otis Toole, another drifter and convicted murderer. The two formed a twisted partnership, allegedly committing numerous murders across the United States. Lucas and Toole claimed to have killed hundreds of people, often targeting hitchhikers, runaways, and other vulnerable people. Toole claimed that some of their crimes involved acts of cannibalism and were even influenced by satanic rituals. Many criminologists believe Lucas manipulated Toole, exploiting his lower intelligence and dependency to maintain control over their partnership. Lucas was arrested in 1983 on charges related to the possession of a deadly weapon. However, it wasn't long before he began confessing to a staggering number of murders, turning him into a media sensation. Lucas eventually confessed to over 600 murders, an implausible number that would make him the most prolific serial killer in history if he was telling the truth. Lucas cooperated with police, leading them to crime scenes and providing details about the victims. This cooperation led to multiple convictions, but also raised questions about the validity of his confessions. Lucas appeared to enjoy the attention, often being given privileges such as steak dinners and cigarettes during interrogations. Some critics argue he fabricated many of his confessions just to prolong this attention. As investigators investigated deeper into Lucas's confessions, that's when inconsistencies began to emerge. Lucas confessed to murders that occurred in locations hundreds of miles away on the same day, making it physically impossible for him to have committed both of those. In several cases, Lucas's descriptions of crime scenes and victims didn't match with the actual evidence. Some law enforcement agencies were accused of feeding Lucas information about unsolved cases, allowing him to claim responsibility. With all of this in mind, it is clear many of his confessions were false. But the question remains, just how many were true? Despite the controversies, Lucas was convicted of 11 murders and sentenced to death for the killing of an unidentified woman known as Orange Socks in 1979. However, even this conviction was later questioned due to a lack of credible evidence. In 1999, then Texas Governor George W. Bush commuted Lucas's death sentence to life imprisonment, citing doubts about his guilt in the Orange Socks case. Henry Lee Lucas died of heart failure on March 2001, in prison. The Lucas case exposed systematic issues in law enforcement, including the mishandling of confessions and the rush to close cases without proper investigation. His story is often cited as a reminder about the dangers of relying on only confessions without other evidence. Whether he was a prolific killer, a compulsive liar, or a combination of both, his story is a dark one. What do you think his true victim count is? That's the story of the Confession Killer. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe.